Hi, I'm Andy Glass with WorkshopAddict.com. I have a large evaporative cooler next to me. It's the Portacool Jetstream 270. Now we're going to bring you along for the ride as we receive this unit, unboxed it, filled it up, and getting it set up and run for the first time. After that, we'll talk a little about my impressions, how we use it here in the shop, and a little bit of pros and cons that we see here in our large shop, as well as how it affects my woodworking corner over there. Now, Brian did a video in the past couple weeks about evaporative cooler myths, answering some questions, debunking some of those myths, and then also just kind of going through the process to evaluate if an evaporative cooler is right for you.
The unit arrived via freight truck with a lift gate for easy unloading. It was packaged very nicely. The unit was very large but didn't weigh very much, empty or without water in it. We removed the packaging, took it off the plastic pallet, and began reading the instructions how to fill and set up the unit for the first time. The power cord is located on two hooks on the front of the unit. Simply unwind them, plug it into your receptacle or extension cord. There are two ways to fill this unit's tank. One manually by unscrewing the cap and putting in a hose and filling it up, or connect the hose to the automatic fill station that will automatically top off your tank as it evaporates. We thought we'd use the automatic hose a lot more, but we moved this unit around the shop and we just manually fill the tank with the open port. Next, you're going to want to open the water control valve all the way and turn on the pump to start the water flowing on the cool evaporative media. You want the media to be completely saturated before you turn on the fan. This will optimize and break in the cool evaporative media. Once the media is fully saturated, you can go ahead and use the dial on the control panel to turn on the fan to your desired setting. Let the fan run for a while and try to draw out the moisture of the evaporative cooler. Slowly draw back the water control valve to ease up the amount of water that gets applied to the media. You ideally want a few dry streaks that run down the front, and that's going to be the optimum setting for your space. Now, Portacool's direction does an excellent job of walking you through this step, so don't use this video as a replacement for those directions. Definitely read them and follow them to a T.
We live in North Dakota, and it's not the warmest place in the world, but we do have a month and a half, 2 months during the summer that are especially hot and uncomfortable. My brother-in-law's shop is a hair over 10,000 square feet total, but probably a little less of actual shop space due to the living corners in the southwest corner. The Jetstream 270 is rated for 5,625 square feet. So basically 2 of these units would cover the whole space and use it as an actual cooling unit. But we don't do that here in the shop, being we only have one of them. We use it kind of as direct cooling. So in my woodworking shop, it's my woodworking corner, it's the northwest corner of the shop. I'll point the unit in the southwest corner of the lean-to, and that will indirectly drive cooler air and wrap around into the woodworking section and cool me off as I'm doing my woodworking activities. Now, my brother-in-law, if he's working on a combine or other piece of machinery, he directs that airflow directly at him or his hired hands and immediately cools down that direct area right in front of the Portacool 270 Jetstream model. We recently started to clean and organize the shop in preparation for the large format CNC that we have coming in. In order to do that, we needed to clean up one of the corners completely out and then set up some large pallet racking. This day wasn't too hot, but the work we were doing made it uncomfortable. We set up the Jetstream 270 in the background and blasted us with the cool air. It made a significant difference for our comfort level, safety, and enjoyment during that project and task. There were times we needed to move it out of the way to get more pallet racking in or the skid steer the right angle to help lift the units, and we would aim the Jetstream 270 in a different direction or unplugged it, and we could immediately notice the difference without it. Another great thing about this unit is an absolute jet stream of air velocity that you get from this unit. It can throw 22,500 CFM of air or cubic feet per minute at a velocity of 26 miles an hour. This not only speaks to the size and capacity of the unit, but it also is very handy when cleaning out the shop or piece of equipment. It moves air in such a high velocity and the sheer amount of air it moves. It's great to direct the dust and debris in one direction and help clean out the shop. That high volume of air makes the unit so effective in such a large space. When I first saw these units, my brother-in-law and I talked and asked if we could dedicate some floor space to a unit like this. He couldn't say yes fast enough because he needed a solution for that small window of the year where it was very uncomfortable to work in the shop. He priced out traditional HVAC system, and that wasn't in the financial cards. This was much more affordable solution to that specific small problem of the year, and he didn't need to dedicate an enormous amount of financial resources to make that happen. Another great thing about this unit is it can be picked up, stored anywhere, put a cover on it. They do sell covers for these units and up and out of the way. As I mentioned earlier, Brian did an excellent job of creating a video where he explained how the units work and if they're right for you. We highly recommend you check out that video in the card in the corner or the link in the description. But a big question you may have is, Andy, if you're in a woodworking shop, how is that going to affect you? Well, if you use them properly, it won't. If you use this unit with the doors closed and the water valve cranked open, you're going to have a serious humidity and rust issue. If you use it properly and have adequate ventilation, you'll have a great asset in your shop. The biggest and absolute most important point about your evaporative cooler is you need to have the correct amount of ventilation or makeup air and have your water valve set correctly. My nephews were cleaning a piece of farm equipment with a pressure washer later in the evening without the doors opened and then left. My cast iron tops immediately rusted in the shop, and that wasn't from the Portacool. That happened well before the Portacool was introduced into the shop, but I want to illustrate the power of humidity. If you trap humidity in a shop, it will rust unprotected metal, and the same goes for evaporative coolers. If you run them in a unventilated, without makeup air, you will have humidity issues, and that will cause damage to unprotected metal. We think these units are perfect for specific shops, location, and environments. Before we decided to bring one in, we contacted Portacool, talked with their customer service to see if it was right for us. They were more than happy to help us determine that. They don't want to sell a unit in the wrong location or environment and cause the customers troubles or issues. And we were really, really impressed with that. They also helped us size the correct unit for our particular space. Brian got a unit a little bit smaller than what we did. I think he got the 260 model, and we, of course, have the Jetstream 270 here. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Jetstream 270 by Portacool. It's an evaporative cooler and how we use it here in our shop. If you guys are in the need for a cooling solution and you don't want to price out an HVAC unit, in a traditional sense, maybe a evaporative cooler is right for you. We strongly recommend you guys do a little bit of research and make sure they're right for you before you jump in and bring one into your woodworking shop. We strongly recommend you follow us on social media as we do product review updates, just like the Jetstream 270, as we bring it into the shop and use it. We also do project updates and exclusive social media giveaways. I'm Andy Glass with Workshop Addict. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.